Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2019, and there's a couple of stories I want to cover here. Right ahead of the Fed's decision, which will be coming in about 3 hours. Um, who is right, stocks or bonds? Um, the seesaw action I see going on between the stocks and bonds shows absolute uncertainty. No one really knows what to do because they don't know what the Fed decision will be. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion I know what it is, which is hold. Don't raise, don't lower interest rates today. And if they did raise interest rates today, the market is not expecting it, by the way. There would be a sizable downturn in the markets if that happened. If they hold the same, the stock market will be the same. If they lower, stock market will go up. And those are the three scenarios based on that activity alone. However, I just want to point something out here. The only reason we see the stock market going up is fresh money going into the system. Stock buybacks by corporations. They're borrowing a lot of money to buy back their own stocks. So corporations' debt load is getting bigger, and the bonds are looking less and less attractive because the sheer amount of debt corporations are beginning to carry. That's something you can find in the alternative media. This has been going on for a while now. However, we have a blackout period coming up starting on I believe it's 25th. It's next week. And it goes till May 5th or something like that. So we will see the stock market begin to go down very, very soon. Because buybacks is what's keeping this whole thing afloat, along with the freshly printed money being stuffed in the market. But those two are the same. The companies aren't doing this with cash or with reserves; they're doing it with debt. So they're actually borrowing money to make it happen. So that's kind of my take on the markets today, and what will happen with the markets today if they hold. Markets will be stable, and they may go up a little, they may go down a little, but no violent, huge moves in any markets. You won't see the Dow moving, 700 points up because they held, the same. That's reserved for if they lower rates today. Then you'd see some pretty aggressive moves in the upward direction for the markets. So I think hold is their position now because the Fed fund rate now I believe is at 2.5%, which is the 3-year Treasury yield. By bringing interest rates up that far, they're killing the housing market. It's actually beginning to die. We've known this now for about 6 months, but the housing market is in a slow motion crash right now in the United States. And if they raise rates again, it'll crash even faster ahead of the busiest time for home sales of the year, which is spring going into late summer, early fall. They will kill it for that period if they raise again. It's already not doing well. It's already not healthy. It's way below averages. So for that reason alone, I don't think they'll raise. The stock market's only going up because, like I said, newly printed money, corporations, purchasing stocks, plus the Fed or the big banks buying stocks with newly printed money. So yeah, that's, like I said, those are the likely scenarios. Um, but I also want to cover another story here. There's some new information on the Brexit. And May is basically on her knees begging the EU for an extension. And they're not going to give an extension without a guarantee from Parliament, in other words, that they're agreeing on something. And they're not agreeing on anything because every deal that May has delivered to Parliament, was pretty crappy for the British people. They don't like those deals that she's coming up with. But I think that's what her function is. Her function was to come in and delay Brexit as long as possible and make sure there's a hard Brexit. So right now, the situation is this. They're in a holding pattern right now with absolutely no deal. Theresa May can't provide any more deals because Parliament is tired of all the slight variations, for every deal she brings from the last deal she brought, which was voted down. And then what she would do is come back, a month later with a slight variation off the deal that they said no to before. And everyone's getting tired of her shenanigans. Parliament is tired of her. The EU is tired of her. So I'm thinking she may not be prime minister for too much longer. Um, so Parliament has even said, they may approve some sort of deal if May was gone, if she resigned, which is very interesting too. That way, Parliament can placate the EU just a little bit and say, hey, listen, we've gotten rid of May, so let's let a new prime minister come in and let's see what we can accomplish here. See if we can come up with an actual deal rather than doing a hard Brexit, where negotiations are handled after the fact. We're already gone, and so that's pretty much where they're at right now. Now, keep in mind, this is coming up. This is looming, man. This is literally on the 29th of March. This is really close. We're talking 9 days away, and they have absolutely nothing to go on. They're just begging for an extension. And by they, I mean Theresa May is begging for another extension. And that's it. That's the only thing going on right now. There is no negotiations happening at all. Um, the whole thing has flatlined. It, like I say, I'll give you updates as this happens, but right now I've read this whole thing here, and it really looks like there's just going to be a hard Brexit on the 29th. The EU is really tired of the situation, so is Parliament, and a hard Brexit would be probably the most difficult thing for the British people, which, basically I think the EU wants that. So, it's nothing's really changed. Everything is still going forward for the 29th. However, they do provide in this article, and I'll link everything below, of course, like I do every time. They're providing scenarios that, basically where they could delay it, or they could have, some kind of deal, but they're unlikely, in my opinion. I think right now, as the information comes in, this is from Zero Hedge. Right now, it still looks like a hard Brexit on the 29th. And once again, though, this is a tumultuous situation and anything could change. Um, but I think right now it's the same. So it's just the more things change, the more they stay the same with Brexit. So, but at any rate, thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to me today. I appreciate you guys coming in, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.